Please listen carefully.
Welcome to the Cultural Stew Podcast, coming to you from the Goat Factory Media Entertainment Studios. We are your cultural media recommendation podcast, giving you our take on what we think is worth carving your time out for, and also what we think you can pass on and maybe go cut that lawn instead. Warning, we use adult language, and there may be spoilers ahead. Hello and welcome to episode 4 for the week of March 3rd, 2018. This is our Oscar bait special. I am your host, Ron Herkins Jr., and I am here with my co-hosts,
Tony,
Valerie Vidmar, and our special co-host for today is a good friend of mine. It's Dustin Haupt from Chicago, Illinois. We are actually both from Kansas. We're longtime friends and have been watching the Oscars, actually, for about 15 years, I think. He is a lover of film, completed a screenplay. He's got it under the belt, even though I haven't read it. And that's more than I've done. And we've had some heated, lively discussions about our picks in the past, so I thought he would have some fun today.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Dustin, for joining us today, our first official guest on the show. This should be a very interesting show. We each have our own pretty distinct views on movies and films, and especially going into the Oscars here, which is tomorrow. So if you're listening to this episode, it should be today. Today's docket, we're going to discuss a little bit of trivia. If you're into the trivia, you can use the parties about these Academy Awards. We're going to go through and talk about our picks in the top categories. Today's stew, we are going to talk about what do the Oscars really represent, who or what was left off the list, and then go through our top 3 movies of the year for each, whether they made it on the Oscar list or not. And as always, we'll finish off with what's on our radar, what's in our queue, and I'm going to ask each of us to kind of share what one of our guilty pleasures are, whether they're on our DVR or not. Something that we may never share with anybody else, but we're going to share today. So, a little bit of trivia for the Academy Awards. I'm going to kick it off. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to skip it, and I'm going to go straight over to Tony.
Well, does everyone know about Rin Tin Tin, the dog?
I know the dog.
Yeah.
Well, Rin Tin Tin was unofficially the first winner of the Best Actor category, the first Oscars, but they decided not to let him win.
Probably the most unanimous, well-deserving dog.
He was actually on the list. He was on the list to vote for?
He was voted for, and
Why?
he was denied because the Academy didn't want a dog winning.
Well, then why was he even considered?
Because it was,
1920 something?
Somebody needed to get that out first.
But yeah.
To have it, it's like La La Land.
But they said no dogs.
You can have it? No, you can't. Never mind. It's not yours
Well,
anymore.
the thing is, it was more of a write-in policy. They just all wrote in who they wanted to win, and Rin Tin Tin
Oh, okay,
was...
got it.
Mr. Ed came along and said, no, I want my due.
So did the list actually come out?
It was more like an inside thing.
Okay.
But it leaked out. Susan Orlean, actually, who's an expert on Rin Tin Tin, noted that. He was voted, he almost won, but the Academy said, we can't have a dog winning our first.
That's interesting.
When I read this, I thought you were saying my source is Susan Orlean, and like you knew her.
I wish.
Like Susan Orlean from Adaptation?
Yes.
Yes. Like,
Very
I thought
cool.
he knew her, and he was throwing it out as a little brag.
I know, it's kind of like me calling actors by their first names. I don't really know them, but it's comfortable, that comfort.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Do you have anything else interesting?
Well, Tron was disqualified for receiving a special, special effects, but it was disqualified for receiving an Academy Award for special effects because the Academy at the time in 1982 thought computers were cheating when it came to special effects.
Well,
Little did they know.
No.
Here's the thing. They should have a makeup Oscar. They should have their Oscar now.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Okay, whatever. I just feel that's wrong.
I think makeup Oscars are wrong, but...
No, they made a mistake.
Oh, she means like sorry.
Sorry, you should have the Oscar.
That's the history of the Oscars, making mistakes and making up for them years later.
That's true. They're probably going to make some tomorrow night.
If something formally came out, I think that would open up a can of worms that I just don't think we'd want to even deal with or see.
Okay, well,
It'd be its own Oscars presentation and be like 4 hours long.
Okay, so speaking of that, so they are known to be, they run extremely long. When I have the tape, I always am having to add 30 minutes, add 30 minutes, add 30 minutes. But the first...
And every year they talk about how they're going to make it shorter.
No.
And they're going to move up the time. And
The first Oscar show in 1929 was actually only 15 minutes long.
oh, man, that would be wonderful. I could see it before I go to bed.
Yeah, and I thought what was really interesting is that out of the 89 films that won for Best Picture, only 63 were coupled with the director win.
Because we were having a debate. So this
Yeah.
is, we had to look this up.
It's that one's always been a weird one for me. That a
The-
director and Best Picture
Together.
never win as the same. I understand why, but it's always been.
Sometimes
a
they
weird
don't
one.
even get nominated.
Right.
The director.
That is the weird one. I think they should at least always get nominated, but
Anyway.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I also thought it was kind of fascinating that, just to kind of keep in mind the average voters in the Academy make up about 76% men, with the average age of 63, and 94% of the voters are white.
But there's a new class, correct?
Yeah, there's a class of about 201, or in 2018 that there's about 7,258 voting members this year, which is an increase. And the actors branch is about 1,200 members, and that's the largest voting branch that plays into the...
That's going to play big time into what gets what, because the actors vote for.
Everyone votes for Best Picture, but each branch votes for their
Right.
respective.
But Best Picture is the only one that is weighted. You put your first pick, your second pick, your third pick.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I didn't even know that. Lots of things.
Interesting.
You can watch them, but you need to know the background.
There's tons of history, tons of trivia out there. Hit us on Facebook with what may be your favorite piece of trivia about it, and
Or corrections.
Or corrections. Yeah, we make mistakes. We live with it. So we're gonna roll right into our top categories, and we're just gonna roll off here. Start with Best Adapted Screenplay. My choice for Best Adapted Screenplay would kind of be a tie between Logan and Molly's Game. I kind of saw Molly's Game on a whim, and I thought it was clever writing. I believe it was Aaron Sorkin.
Yes.
Aaron Sorkin's
Yes.
writing. And Logan, I thought it was a fantastic comic book adaptation. Anthony?
I'm going to go with, I'm going to preface this by saying I have my own personal choice, and then I have what I think the Academy will go for. I loved Logan's screenplay, so that's my personal choice, but I have a feeling tomorrow night that Call Me By Your Name will take Adapted.
I think you're right. I have Call Me By Your Name, James Ivory. We both
I do too, yeah.
read the book. We read the book, and I'm closer. Okay. So we have that one. I felt, I don't know, after reading the book, I read the book actually afterward.
Same here.
We talked about this in our first episode, right? The Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
your long form views on that are well known.
yeah, I know. That's right. So go back and listen to
back
that.
and listen.
Good stuff. Good stuff there.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you guys. I think Call Me By Your Name. I read the book after as well. Did a really good job of mirroring the book.
So, all right. So we got that. Up next is Best Screenplay. I'm going to go with Three Billboards as to what was on the actual list. Shape of Water was up there, but I think Three Billboards had a little bit more to say than Shape of Water did.
I'm going to go with Shape of Water. I mean, it's not my personal choice, but I think it's going to get the nod for that.
I think you're right. I think Three Billboards had a little bit more to say than Shape of Water did. I mean, it's not my personal choice, but I think it's going to get the nod for that. Especially screen.
What would be your personal choice?
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk.
How it was written, how the layers in it, and just the structure of it impressed me a lot. And I know the Academy, the writing branch, loves that kind of stuff, but I think we're going to get Shape of Water is going to win for the fantastical element, and we'll just see how that goes, I guess.
Okay, we're doing original screenplay. Is that what we're saying here?
We are, yes.
Okay, I'm making up here. I'm going to be controversial here, but even though I didn't see the entire movie, that's the whole thing on its own. 3 Billboards is what I have on my pick. I don't know if they followed the script exactly.
They
okay.
did.
But I just remember sitting and being impressed by. It was quick. I liked the script.
That's Martin's writing. He's snappy. He's a former playwright. Well, he still is a playwright. Sorry, but his dialogue.
I think it felt honest though to me. I mean, I think it's, and we go back to the Meyerowitz stories when I talked about that. I think it's very hard to get real life depiction of how people talk.
It is
normally,
yes.
And it just felt, a lot of pieces in that just felt pretty raw and pretty honest to me.
I think so
real.
too. I mean, there are a lot of people that had some issues with having somebody be thrown up against a wall and then them laughing at it a few minutes later. And honestly, in families that have that type of relationship, it's actually kind of normal. So I didn't see anything wrong with it. I know that there's a lot of controversy with this movie. So,
well, the problem is Americans don't like seeing themselves on the screen, and he's an Irishman, so Irishmen kind of have the luxury of seeing how we are and then writing about it in a way where it kind of slaps us in the face and we get uncomfortable. I believe that's where the discomfort is coming from, is he took what we hide in our houses, in our homes, and brought it out.
Well, are they upset also that he has a change of heart very quickly to wrap it up with a bow?
I mean, it's not that tidy, but I see what you mean.
Anyway, what do you have?
I am agreeing with kind of what Tony's saying. I mean, Valerie and I every year just kind of go with this, who we want to win and who the reality of it's probably going to be with the Academy voters. So, I really see Shape of Water probably taking it, but, I do, I really did like, was it Call Me By Your Name on there as well?
Yeah, Call Me By Your Name was under adapted.
Yeah.
This was original.
Sorry.
I feel like you were talking about Get Out this morning.
Well, I was kind of going back and forth.
So we're changing our mind already.
Yeah, I just keep going back and forth on that one.
The problem with Get Out and the problem with Logan is they're so early in the year that by the time he gets to the summer, like, oh yeah, I kind of forgot how instrumental those films were. Logan was February, March of last year, and I think Get Out was February, March of last year as well.
And you can watch them. And my mother called and said, I saw Get Out. I saw the title and I thought, okay, well, this is something I should probably watch. And yeah, she watched it alone. This is not her type of movie. And she watched the whole thing. I kept thinking, what am I watching? What am I watching? I can't believe what, so I thought I wished I had a camera in that film. I just would love to see it. I wanted to see her reactions to that.
Yeah, knowing your mom.
Secret film camera.
That would have been awesome.
All right, so let's jump over to animated feature film. I think this is a hands down win to Coco. Did you want Boss Baby to win?
I'd rather be Vincent or something. Vincent was actually a technical feat of mastery. I mean, I can't really watch it for that long. Because
did you watch Coco?
Yeah.
I did.
Yes, I did.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful, but Pixar is monopolizing the category. I mean, can they give them a break? Hey, let's give you a pass. Just sit down. You're fine. You have enough. We'll come back to you next year. Or 3 years from... It's just...
When you do something good, you continue to do it.
Right.
Do you feel like it should be based on whether it was enjoyable or the craft?
The craft is awesome.
I mean, the craft, yes.
I think both are wrapped up into it. I mean, you can have a fantastically brilliant technical film, but, animated feature is always, to me, has been, at least have something to say and do.
Well, The Breadwinner is also getting a lot of play. So I feel like that's something that's going to be on my list later. Coco was beautiful. We centered my daughter's birthday around Coco. That's what she wanted to do, take her friends to see Coco. So I'm going to have to go with that one, although I wish I'd see Loving Vincent, just because I've seen so many
It's a beautiful
little docs about how they made it.
It's beautiful.
It's crazy how they made this movie.
I want to just say how completely upset I am that Boss Baby is even on this list. I think I shared my feelings on that in another episode.
You did. I mean, if you want to talk about it some more.
It's one of the failures of where the Oscars fail to me.
So I've been listening to the show, but I am curious. I mean, what is it about Boss Baby? I mean, I agree. It's definitely should.
The day that
not
you totally
be on
flipped
there.
out about Boss Baby, I went home and Zoe
It's a shitty movie.
Harper are watching Boss Baby.
All right.
But
And,
it's so entertaining to them.
It's just it's the flaw of like anybody can vote for the animated feature category, and
people liked it. They
No.
made it on there.
No, they didn't.
They didn't.
Then why isn't it on here?
I think it's
It's
because
on there
they
because if anybody in the Academy can vote for it, and you're presented with a list, people will say, "Oh, I watched Boss Baby because my 2-year-old watched it."
I was just going to say, is it because people watched it?
Yeah.
It was pretty big at
Well,
the box
Breadwinner.
office.
I don't know how many people have any of you seen Breadwinner?
I have actually.
And did you like it?
I did.
I really want to see it.
It's on my list. I would like to see that too.
It's Breadwinner.
Boss Baby is utter crap and it should not be on this list.
Okay.
Okay,
Let's move on.
got it.
There are other things that
The
are
only good
complete
thing
crap.
about Boss Baby is Hans Zimmer was involved in that.
Of course. But yeah, other things are crap, and we'll get to those soon.
All right.
And
I have not seen Coco, but I know that I agree. It's probably going to take it. I know. I admit I have not. All I've seen is Boss Baby.
If you lived here.
so you're going with consensus on Coco.
Yeah, just because, I mean, it's got the most buzz. But I really do want to see Loving Vincent because all the previews I've seen and the talk, it looks so good.
It is.
If you lived here, you could have gone to her birthday party.
I know, right?
And seen Coco.
Oh, shaming. Visual effects. One of the technical categories I love. This was a toss-up for me between Blade Runner and Planet of the Apes. I think War on the Planet of the Apes was just phenomenal. I think Blade Runner was phenomenal. So I can be good with either one of those winning because they're both worth it.
Planet of the Apes gets lots of...
They like
that.
This
the
one
Oscars,
was
the Academy
very
likes them.
How far they took the visual effects in this one were pretty good.
I wish I would have seen that before this. I have to go with Blade Runner just because I was blown over by that movie. It was gorgeous. I don't even know what to say. I could just go sit right now and go sit there and watch it. But I really think that, I think you're right. I think Planet of the Apes gets lots of love from the Academy.
I'm going to abstain from this category.
Do you have?
Is there a reason you're abstaining, or you just
don't
care?
Don't care.
Okay.
All right. I'm in agreement with the consensus here. Blade Runner. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I'd like to see that, but I'm sure it probably
The
won't.
red sand. That's all I'm going to say.
For me, it was. I love it ties into why I kind of loved Altered Carbon and that Blade Runner. I just liked that futuristic effect, but Planet of the Apes was just it felt real. Even though like you're looking at something that's completely CGI from the ground up, it felt like, oh, I'm looking at something that's physically real. And it's something that was leaps and bounds over, if you go back and look at the first Planet of the Apes that they did 5 years ago, I think was the first one.
Yeah.
And to where they are with the level of CGI.
Yeah, I need that.
I did
got
see
Woody in it.
I did see Kong Skull Island. I did see that movie.
My daughter loved it.
It was so fun. I loved it.
I had a blast with it.
Oh, I couldn't wait to see it. It was the best. I just had a great time watching it. Just all of the large.
I love when
what do I say?
Kong walks up and grabs the giant octopus out of the water and just starts eating him.
Woody Harrelson's in that?
In Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes. Okay.
Yeah. Not Woody from Toy Story.
No. Yes, thank you.
That would be hilarious.
Just wanting to clear that up.
Reach for the sky, Kong! All right, what's next on our list here? Production design. Production design for me.
There's no, I mean...
Blade Runner. There's no contest.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Shape of Water.
I agree.
Shape of Water. When I watched that movie...
Yep.
Gorgeous. I'm looking at Richard Jenkins' apartment. His name is escaping me. His character name. Anyone? Anyway. Just everything in their apartment. Just looking at how everything's placed. The colors. It's gorgeous. The fact that they're in water. Water takes such a huge effect.
Colors outside on the street.
Everything
too.
was beautiful.
Everything you just
brought
said
in.
applies to Blade Runner, except for the water part.
No, the placement of all of the things in their apartments. I was looking specifically at all of the props and how they were placed, and I don't know. I thought it was beautiful.
I agree with everything she said.
Thank you. That's probably the first time.
Third, but okay.
And Dustin, you were on.
Yeah, Shape of Water. Yeah.
All right. And moving on up to Best Song. I think this is hands down to This Is Me from Greatest Showman.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like the Call Me By Your Name song. And now it's escaping me.
Mystery of Love?
Yes, thank you. I love it so much I forgot the name.
That's okay. It happens.
But I don't know. I really enjoyed Call Me By Your Name in general as a film. And when the song started to play at the exact moment in the movie, it just really pulled at me. And
Sure, me too.
and I listened into the words and I'm like, this is telling the story right up against it. Like, I don't know. It was just really good.
The lyric people.
Mm-hmm.
It was beautiful, but I have to go with.
But
But
well,
yeah,
mine.
the reality of the Academy.
Correct.
No. I, of course, am going with This Is Me because I've heard this song so many times in my house and in the movie theater, and I don't get tired of it. I like listening to it. It's a good. I think it's a good. It has a good message.
A good message, but to me, in the same way that the music hit you for the Call Me By Your Name is, I thought its placement in This Is Me when the door closes
Sure.
on her,
Yeah.
telling him that, no, you're still one of them, and she just turns and goes into the song. I thought it was a very powerful moment. It's just like, you know what? This is their turning point.
Sure.
And I think that's where, to me, the music has to
I agree.
Yeah,
evolve
I agree.
into the movie in a way like that.
And the two writers on that are
Pasek and Paul.
yeah, they're
On
they're
fire.
winning everything right now.
Yeah, and
so
this and Greatest Showman was something that they started like 10 years ago, 8 years ago.
Okay.
So it was before all of the stuff that became popular. It was before La La Land,
Before
before,
La La Land.
Dear Evan
Okay.
Hansen, and even before Christmas Story. So
Really?
yeah, this was their early stuff. It took that long in production for.
so they just
Christmas
couldn't
Story.
make it fast enough.
Yeah, they did the music for A Christmas Story. Yeah, do you know the movie The
musical?
Christmas Story? You're going to shoot your eye out. Red
Yes.
Valerie, my favorite.
They made
I
it into a musical.
They did.
Yeah, you
it
know,
was
like
just it was a live TV
Oh
musical. It was
my
just here
God.
in
on
December.
Fox.
John Bolton was on Broadway.
Holy cow.
in the show.
John Bolton's from
There's a reason why I didn't see this and don't know about it.
here.
It's his favorite movie.
I couldn't do it on Fox. Like I
I
couldn't
didn't
watch
watch it. I didn't. They should have had John come and do it. It was weird.
I've never seen either version of it. I just know that
Don't.
it's a
You've not
very
seen the original?
Most people don't realize that
Don't.
it is Pasek and Paul.
Ugh. I didn't know that.
a
That's
cult
interesting,
favorite.
but I'm
It's
not going to watch
it's
it.
That's their early
I only
stuff.
watched it because John was in.
That is
Broadway
so
show.
fascinating.
He even went to Cleveland to see the house.
It's a nice house.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
just
good,
thought it was
it's a
really
good
fun.
movie.
I love it.
Okay, moving on. Moving on.
Did you have a favorite song? Or is it a category you just don't care?
I just don't care.
Okay. A
Did you
category I
enjoy
know
anything?
that you will care about.
Okay, let's go.
Best score. I'm going to let Anthony go with this one, and then I'll go after him.
Valerie, you
'Cause I know
can
what he's gonna
Valerie
say.
take this for me. For a minute.
No, why? Go ahead.
You go first,
No,
and
go
I will
ahead.
follow up.
I feel like you are okay. Best score. I'm gonna go with Shape of Water.
Sorry, everybody. That was my GoPro.
You are so
I'm fired. It's
Naughty.
my role to have no noisy things in here, and I just broke
because
it.
he has to film it because he's a filmmaker.
No, whatever.
We're all filmmakers.
Score.
Anyway, score. I'm gonna go with Shape of Water, and that's by Alexandre
Alexandra Desplat.
Desplat.
That's black.
Desplat. Damn it! I almost
Desplat.
had it.
You're not French. Don't worry.
Alexandre Desplat. Shape of Water. I thought the music was perfectly
It's very
symmetrical.
it's very
symmetrical.
recognizable too.
It is recognizable, and it went so well with. It just sounds like water. I don't know.
The music in the movie was very seamless, and some music calls attention to itself. I think we talked about that last week with this soundtrack, not score, soundtrack for Lady Bird. It was jarring to me.
Right? You didn't like it.
Shape of Water's score was like watching a silent movie in itself.
It
where
was. It was. Good point.
It's better than the artist's soundtrack score, but we'll not talk about that movie yet.
Oh boy. No, I'm in agreement with everybody.
I believe that score will probably be the winner. It was not my favorite of the ones that are on the list, though.
What is your favorite?
My favorite was probably Blade Runner. It was a Hans Zimmer score.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, everybody's like, "Oh, that's why." But
No,
he also wrote.
we're not saying Meryl Streep's going to win. Just letting you
He
know.
also wrote the music for Dunkirk. But there are so many distinct differences between Dunkirk
Correct.
and Blade Runner that they're like in their own categories. And I have respect for both of them. And everybody that's saying that Dunkirk is his best film score of this year. I would rather say that Blade Runner is, because it taps in. Was it who did it? Vangelis, the original Blade Runner.
I think so. I can double check that.
He tapped into that. And Dunkirk was a very weak score to me, even though it played for the film. It played very well. But yeah, the Shape of Water one is definitely going to win, just because it is it's got melody, it's got stuff that stick in your head. Blade Runner is it's noise, but it's fit well.
Okay.
But,
So you're a Blade Runner fan, clearly. You would want it to win in every category. It's nominated? No?
no,
Okay.
I think technical wise, I think
Technical-wise.
in the visual technical field, yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
but which I think that kind of rolls right into. Let's go with best cinematography. And I think that hands down would go to Blade Runner.
Okay.
I think it's time for him to win.
14
That
nominations.
is,
14 nominations
was that
and no win for
Roger?
Deakins.
No,
Roger Deakins.
Deakins.
Yeah, Deakins.
So that will be actually a very interesting category, because he's been nominated so many times, and then you have Mudbound, and Rachel's the first woman. So that's kind of cool. But I am definitely going for Blade Runner.
And if you didn't have a chance to see it in IMAX,
Which I did. I did see it.
you did see it in IMAX.
Absolutely.
It's phenomenal. I mean, the cinematography in it is just amazing. There's shots that just in my head I can pull out shots that are just lingering to me. They're like, that's the work of somebody who is not only a cinematographer but a photographer. Like those are the shots that you see 20 years, 30 years down the road. And there's nothing else this whole season that stood out to me like that. I will say that the work on Dunkirk was phenomenal.
It was.
I mean, that would be hard pressed to beat Blade Runner, but I mean, Deakins is just.
My thought on that is kind of strange. I mean, I agree with you on that. There are some shots in Dunkirk where you're like, wow, that's cinematography at its best. Like the closing plane landing scene was beautiful, but there's like moments where you're like, wow, that's what cinematography should be like. But the whole movie as a whole, it doesn't carry weight, if that makes any sense.
Sure. I felt like when I was watching Blade Runner, it was just like, I don't know, maybe I was just in the moment. Everything just looked beautiful, the whole thing. I just kept And Dustin?
I don't honestly have a strong opinion about this category, but I agree with everything you guys are saying with Blade Runner.
That's really weak answer.
But I kind of wonder if it's going to go to Shape of Water just because they're nominated so much.
That's what you're going to say? Because they're nominated?
So much.
See, what's weird to me is like the Shape of Water stuff
What do you have here?
There are scenes, but there's not shots. There's scenes that I specifically remember the dancing scene, the scene with her leaning over and handing him the egg. And those lean more towards the direction and what the thing was. But I'm just strictly talking about
the camera work didn't
surprise
surprise me. It didn't really.
Okay.
Shape of Water's cinematography it was great. It was lyrical and it moved fluidly, but it wasn't like, wow. It was
This is where he's going to slam you down.
Okay.
Just slammed you down.
So I mean, I get it, but you're going as a whole package deal, cinematography, but I just can't.
For the record, he does have.
I do have Blade Runner.
He does on his list. He just felt like he needed to be different.
We don't mind different.
Different is good.
All right, what's up next? We got narrowing down the list. We got supporting actress. I really didn't have any strong feelings on this.
I have
so
strong
I'm gonna pass.
feelings.
Valerie had very strong opinions this morning.
Don't have any feelings? Oh, that's okay.
On supporting actress? No.
Okay, I have strong feelings about this.
Let's go.
I mean, let's just be honest. We know who's getting the most talk.
CJ.
She didn't do anything in the...
Allison Janney. She's winning everything for a movie that I did not find funny. She is bringing in these comical things with a bird on her. There's a bird on her. She's making these
black comedy.
Okay.
And it's every time she's on the screen, she's by herself a lot of it. And she makes comments, and it's so funny. This mom who is not funny.
But doesn't everybody have somebody in their life that they can point to and say, oh, that person thinks they're hilarious?
She doesn't think she's hilarious.
No, she doesn't. I'm saying Allison Janney is funny in this. She's making her funny, this is not a funny movie.
But I feel like when the scenes that she's in, you were in with her. Like, you're just really focused. But
I don't want her to win. I don't think
can
she did anything.
I want Laurie Metcalf to win.
So do I.
The only problem is that she shares a lot of her scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But she deserves to win over Birdwoman. I love Allison Janney.
I will share.
Big love for her, but not this.
I will share what I feel on this. I think the dark horse of this category, and I don't mean that in any other way other than I think Mary J. Blige was phenomenal.
She was.
I didn't even realize who it was until after the movie was over. And I thought her performance was honest, real, and phenomenal.
She was the backbone of that movie.
But this is kind of the category that can be a surprise. So
correct.
The Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
Tilda Swinton.
I like her a lot, but no.
Tilda or Mary J. Blige?
I love Tilda a lot.
No, what I'm saying is that was that surprise when Tilda Swinton won. I just about my head about popped off. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody was just floored.
Well, we didn't know you, and you weren't able to tell us that she was going to win. Anyway, so I do think that of all the categories, this is the one that can go.
I don't want Allison to win. I didn't feel that she did anything but sit there and smoke a cigarette during the whole movie.
So who do you?
I agree.
I want Laurie to win. I've seen Laurie since Roseanne, and I've seen her. I mean, at least her character had an arc.
Who to win? Glory?
Laurie.
Oh, Laurie.
Do you know how hard it was to watch Lady Bird and not keep going back to Roseanne?
That's what it was.
Constantly.
That's
I have none.
There were some moments, but not a lot.
Did you ever watch? Have you ever watched Roseanne?
Sure.
Man, it just kept popping up every time she came on screen. I was like,
there were a couple moments.
Yeah.
I don't know about the whole thing, but
Did that happen to you?
There are a couple of Roseanne.
Speaking of Roseanne,
did you watch
guess
Roseanne?
What's coming back?
I'm watching it.
March.
I'll be seeing it.
I think they got almost the whole.
Let her
cast.
have
the whole cast is
another.
back. Minus,
Let her break out of her role. Let her break out.
She's been doing theater too, but I mean, there were a couple like flashbacks. Like when I see Betty White, I think of Rose from Golden Girls. It's just there.
Golden Girl.
I love that show.
There's those roles that stick with you for the rest of your life.
I did not think of Roseanne
But did you watch Roseanne that much?
Yes.
Have you seen?
I let people.
How many episodes have you watched of Roseanne?
Did you watch the whole series?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, see,
that's,
I have seen every series.
Maybe 10.
If you've seen the whole series.
I think I watched the whole series because my parents watched it.
Yes.
And it was like nothing else was on, so I watched it.
I just think
with
of
it.
Roseanne. I don't think of her sister on that show.
She was good, though.
She was very good.
Okay, moving on.
See,
All
the
right.
most debated category.
All right, moving on to Best Supporting Actor.
Ugh.
This one stood out for me, and I'm going to go with Rockwell just because he stood out because I hated his character
Yes.
to the core. And if you can get that much of a reaction from me, you deserve the nomination and the win.
I'm going to go with Woody for my personal choice, but Sam's going to get it. I think Woody has shown a lot of growth in the last couple of years where this character was different. I mean, he was still a Woody, but you felt he had more heart.
I did too. I thought
Did you see LBJ? LBJ?
I will be seeing that soon, actually.
Let me know your thoughts. I haven't seen it yet.
We'll do it.
That's got Woody.
I agreed when I saw Three Billboards. I never had liked Woody Harrelson more than in that movie, but yeah, Sam Rockwell hated. I don't know what happens in the end because we had a very unfortunate thing happen in the movie theater. So
The movie had to stop.
The movie,
Three Billboards?
yes, and the movie had to stop.
You should go back and watch it. And
Well, I
So we
had
didn't.
it as of like a week ago, but I don't think I have it anymore. So
Oh shoot! I didn't know that. Anyway, but I'm going to go with Sam Rockwell. I just want to say that I'm just happy that Richard Jenkins was nominated.
yes,
Yeah, I agree.
he'll get one soon.
I would love for him to get one. And
I'll go with Sam as well. And I agree with what you were saying earlier about just he made me so uncomfortable at so many points in the movie that, that was a good job.
what happens in the end? With his
You want a
character?
spoiler?
well, where did it end for you?
Pretty much after is it him who threw somebody out the window?
Yes, he throws that guy out the window.
Yeah,
Can't
I'm not
go
going to
there.
go pair it. There's a lot that happens after.
That's a big chunk.
And
That's
typically
like
it would be
Act
like, yeah, we
2.
talk about spoilers, but
That's the old Act
I'm going to
3.
skip it for this one.
Yeah,
Well,
It's a huge.
somebody was ill.
you miss Act 3.
Yeah,
We'll catch up.
I remember. Yeah,
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah.
So, all right, moving
Talk
on.
offline. Remind me. See if I've got it.
Okay,
So
or what are we going?
Yeah, I was going with Sam.
okay.
Yep.
Moving on to winding down here. Best actress. Best actress. Man, this was a tough one for me because I think either one of them, either Sally Hawkins or Frances McDormand, can get it.
Really?
I love Sally a lot. I love her, but Frances is going to get it, and it saddens me.
I think Sally's the silence that what she was able to bring to the table with being silent was remarkable.
Right, I see. Yeah.
So Ronan's not even
No.
in your...
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Nope.
I did not like that movie.
Really?
Nope.
Okay.
He has to go to therapy.
Fair enough.
Why did I have to go to therapy? It's not a movie that resonated with me at all.
I think it did.
No.
I think it did.
So
I'm just joking. You.
Whatever.
Just joking. You. I'm kidding. So your pick is
I can go swing either way with either Frances or Sally.
okay.
I agree with that too. I think Frances did a phenomenal job, but it's one of those roles where, depending on who had it, it could have been anyone, and it would have been kind of the same intensity.
I do not think
but,
so.
But I think Frances did a great job. But Sally,
Holly Hunter could have done a great job at this too.
she could have.
See
what I mean? So
I think
I said one other person.
I think Sally, her silence, like Ron said, carried the movie, and she did so much with her facial. And
She did.
Yeah.
You felt like heartbreak for her.
I think Frances's best scene in Three Billboards was when she was sitting in bed and she starts talking to the slippers.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like to be able to pull that off and actually make it feel like, yeah, you're just kind of tripping a little bit. You're losing a little bit of your mind after all the shit that's happened to you. I don't know if that was in the third act or not.
Yeah, that you
Is
did
that in the
not
third
see.
act?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Okay. The actors have such a huge influence on these. I feel like they're going to go with Frances. They keep picking her. I think it's going to be Frances.
She's kind of been sweeping all the shows.
Yep. That's
but
how I feel.
I would be okay with Sally too. her facial expressions and just
her physical body, just her physical chemistry, knowing how her body moves and doing it,
and the way she signed in that one scene to her neighbor, where she was like, he understands me, he gets me. Like, it was very...
Her performance reminds me a lot of who's the actress from Amelie?
Audrey Tattoo.
Yeah. It just that the whole time outside, I just felt like I was watching was her again, but in a good way. It just stuck out. It was like,
it's Amelie for adults. I said that before.
Yes, you did.
Amelie grown up.
I did think of Amelie when I watched it. Is there anybody that if they said the winner is and they read a name, you would just be pissed?
I think you would freak out about Margot. Wouldn't you?
No, I mean, I didn't like the movie. I didn't like the movie, but
Margot's was Suicide wasn't this year. It was last year, wasn't it? Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I think she probably had a better turn as Harley Quinn than she probably did as I, Tonya.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you see I, Tonya?
No.
Okay.
I have no desire.
I would scream if Meryl Streep was announced. If Meryl Streep was announced as the winner, I would scream.
Because the way she was in the movie, or just because of you.
I just don't. She's a great actress. I just don't think she needs to be nominated over and over and over again. It's like, here, you're good. Here, you're good.
21 nominations, 23 nominations, somewhere in there.
Just stop. She's fine. She doesn't need to have the...
So they put the post...
Dustin, what's your feeling on this here?
The post is nominated for Best Picture, which is bullshit.
That's a gimme for Spielberg. We know that.
It's complete crap. But anyway,
the film was basically done in like 6 months.
She was the best thing in the movie.
Yes.
Do I think she should have been nominated? No. I don't.
We can say it. It's fine.
I don't.
It's a gimme.
Yeah.
She's not going to get it.
No.
We just like to see her face.
I don't.
I do.
It's basically saying we're going to help you break a record. Just keep giving it to you. And it's like, it's fine. It's great. But it's just, no, we don't need to just stop. Just like...
You need to see some movies.
Here's the thing, okay? So Daniel Day-Lewis is a great actor, but he's not nominated every year he's in a film.
He's not in...
But you know what I mean? He's not nominated. They don't do kiss his butt like that every single time he's in a movie.
So. This woman is not trying to get anything from it.
But the Academy doesn't know how to say, we love you, but you don't need to be nominated. How about we give you a presentation? How about you
They are nominating her. I don't know. It just keeps happening.
The branch needs to stop.
God.
The acting branch needs to stop. It's just...
Whatever.
Send a memo.
We have to move on.
I have a cat named Meryl Streep. My cat's name is Meryl Streep.
Moving on. Your cat's name is Meryl Streep?
Well, when we had it together, we named her Meryl Streep.
Did you call her Meryl Streep or did you call her
just
Meryl?
Meryl.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Meryl! But they love when I come in at the vet's office and they say that Meryl Streep is here. They just love to say that. Anyway. Okay,
moving on to Best Actor. Hands down, Gary Oldman. Best performance of the year. Probably best performance of, God, almost probably
crazy.
The last 5 years.
He was phenomenal.
Easily.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's time. It's well due.
It is overdue.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the movie. I just know that he's been winning everything and he has been showing up for everything. And he...
I mean, I didn't see him as Gary Oldman.
I know that Timothée Chalamet is getting... I mean, for the young
He's
voters,
the youngest.
Well, the young voters really liked him, but I don't think... Yeah, it's going to be Gary
I saw
Oldman.
Gary Oldman in The Fifth Element, and I didn't know it was Gary Oldman until I'm like, wait, your head, your mouth.
Oh, yeah, he
right.
can really...
It was weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a really good actor.
He'll get it.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, I probably won't ever watch the Oscars again.
Don't say things you don't mean.
If he doesn't, then who... Do you think there's a second contender?
Timothy.
You think so?
He's not going to get it.
Or is it Daniel Day because it's his last?
No, they're not that
movie.
silly.
No.
They're not that silly.
I've seen sillier things happen. But
So have I.
Let's just put it down to Gary Oldman and move on.
All right. Moving on to directing. I'm going to go with Dunkirk. I think Christopher Nolan's film was phenomenal. But at the same light, Guillermo del Toro's Shape of Water was phenomenal as well. So I'm kind of split between the two of them.
I think execution-wise, I think Dunkirk personally should win. Just how everything came together, how it was just... I mean,
for pure technicality,
Yeah.
that's where I'd put Nolan.
yeah.
Did it have a lot to say?
Not really, no.
No.
But just the awesomeness of that's what film should be. Like Inception, that's what film is Dunkirk. But then you have Shape of Water and Del Toro's woven together this seamless fantasy. And so I'm torn on that a lot.
Well, I'd say that Dunkirk had such a lack of dialogue that it's a director's movie. I mean, the whole thing was shaped by him. Whatever we saw and we understood just by... So I thought that was pretty amazing. But I'm going to go with Del Toro to win.
And I think it goes back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier this morning about, you know, director and picture winning. Is it a package deal? Is it not? And so I think that's where I was kind of going back and forth with Del Toro, you know, kind of winning, but I don't know. I really liked Dunkirk, and
yeah, I really strongly keep getting pulled back to Dunkirk, just simply based off of name an actor in Dunkirk who pulled the movie.
right.
Name an actor in Shape of Water who pulled the movie. If Sally Hawkins wasn't in that movie, or Roger Jenkins wasn't in that movie, would you have Shape of Water?
Or what's his name? Doug Jones. You wouldn't have a movie without Doug Jones.
Dunkirk used very few noticeable names.
Right.
And the ones that he did put in it that were noticeable, Tom Hardy, Kenneth Branagh, they were exactly a supporting cast. They didn't stick out.
And he put one in that he didn't even know he put in.
Yeah. I mean, he put one of the most top pop stars out there. And so, you know, that's I'm going for Dunkirk just for that.
I think it has a good
too.
shot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to put this out there too, that I'm not putting Christopher Nolan and I don't even want to say his name, Jim Cameron in the same category. But
oh God,
I know, sorry, but they're not the best dialogue writers. So I can see this being a director's film, even though Nolan did write it. I mean, he wanted to improvise the whole film originally until his wife said, "No, you can't improvise a whole film like this." That's a no. But they're not great at writing dialogue, and you can kind of tell. And I'm sure Nolan had someone help patch up his dialogue. And
Usually has his brother.
Yeah, so he's good at writing the action and getting it across. But dialogue, like Jim Cameron, it's not his strong suit. So, but it worked in this film. In this case, we didn't need that much dialogue. We needed to watch and take it in and feel it.
Mm-hmm.
That's my little tidbit.
thank you.
All right, and before we go to our best picture, we will be taking a short break after the best pictures. We'll be taking a short break before we delve into more talk about the Oscars. But I'd like to preface the best picture talk by saying I have a horrible track record of actually picking who the best picture will win, because I go by basically what we just talked about in the best director category, judging a film on technicality versus over the not substance per se, message.
I'll get into that later too.
My best picture pitch is Dunkirk.
Why are you? I thought we were waiting for that.
You didn't listen. I said after
the commercial break.
After we do best pictures, we will go into a commercial break.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, I thought you were going to do one of those things.
You thought I was going to be a jackass?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Well,
what is yours?
I'm going to go with Shape of Water as my personal choice, as well as Dunkirk. I'm still tied between those two, so it's a good thing I'm not voting this year. But Shape of Water and Dunkirk have my... I'm still not sure yet.
Can I have your voting chip?
No, it doesn't work that way. Sorry.
Okay. There we go. So Shape of Water, I think, is what I would want to see win. Well, it's like I think it's going to win. Get Out would be amazing if it won. The SAGs gave 3 Billboards Best Ensemble, not Shape of Water. And last year they did the same thing. They didn't give it to La La Land. They get Hidden Figures. So even though the actors are voting, right?
For Best Picture?
Yeah.
Everyone's voting for Best Picture.
But they have the biggest
Pool of people.
And they like 3 billboards. So what the word on the street is that if 3 billboards wins, it's going to be anarchy, like after Crash 1. So it's going to be that type of feeling. So that's kind of how I feel.
Crash was crap.
We'll talk about Crash after.
Yeah, we will. Sorry. Yeah.
So,
So what's your pick?
God, I'm gonna go Get Out.
Okay.
Really?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
All right. And I'm going to stick with Shape of Water.
Was. Okay.
And with that, we are going to go take a short break, and we will be back. Hey, you. That's right. I'm talking to you. Insert your ad here. That's right. Ever wanted to become part of an ad? Ever have something that really wants to be shared and it's created and made by you? Well, this is your chance. Become part of the Cultural Stew advertising platform. Contact us today to see what we can do for you and what you can do for us. Okay, and welcome back. We're going to do a little round table here. We're going to start off with the best picture from the year you were born. The best picture from the year I was born, 1980, was Ordinary People. I have seen this movie, and I've subsequently forgotten this movie.
I love that movie.
Why?
Just fine. Ordinary People.
Yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore. I think she did such. I loved her in that movie. I read the book too.
I think that was the last time I watched the movie. Was sometime around the time I read the book, which was.
But I like emotional, like film, like emotional cutting movies.
I was going to say, just getting to know you more, I'm wondering if it's because you don't like it as much because it's an acting movie.
Got a story.
No, because it's an acting movie. It's not a visual. It's not.
But it's also really hard to watch. I mean, it's about death. It's about dealing with death. It's about dealing with, maybe you're not one for loss.
I think to me it might revolve around just being a dated movie to me.
I like dated movies.
Okay.
How about you, Anthony?
All right. I was born in 1985.
Jeez.
So Amadeus was Best Picture that
That's
year.
cool. That's
For
cool.
those of you doing the math at home, stop now or Valerie's going to kill me.
So Amadeus is a film I watch at least once a year, the director's cut. And that's the film I watch when I want to know that I'm okay.
I love that
No,
movie.
That
I love that.
I'm okay, because I know
It's
I'm
really
a little
cool.
weird and eccentric, and I'm a creative person. So watching that film grounds me in reality that there are a lot of us who.
That's cool.
I love that. That's a fantastic reason.
Yeah.
Okay, I like you more.
Thanks.
But respect for me just dropped a couple notches. Yours went up a couple notches.
No, I love Amadeus. I saw it in the movie theater when I was 10 years old, and I was mesmerized. So
And I have an Amadeus laugh. I mean, it's not from the movie, but I realize that I laugh like Mozart when I get really excited.
You do?
I have a high pitched laugh. That's
I want to
obnoxious.
hear it.
It's not coming out.
You have
unless
to
I
get him excited.
So,
What?
yeah.
That's what he just said.
Things just got awkward in here.
But yeah,
When he's laughing.
but I knew at that point when I heard Tom laugh that way, and I heard about Amadeus' laugh before in reading, but knowing that he could laugh like that, and people looked at him weird, and he was still a genius and still able to create, blew me away when I was younger. And I said,
Cool.
okay, I'm okay. So,
That's cool. Love that. Okay, I was born in 1975, and the best picture was the one who flew over the cuckoo's nest, which is,
Love that
if
movie.
anybody
Do too.
knows me, it's very fitting. I have seen the movie. Here's Ratchet. Comes into my life sometimes.
Jack Nicholson.
It's one of the few films and books that I have an equal respect for of both. That I think that the film
That's a great point.
did a very good job at portraying.
Yeah. I don't have have much to say about it. I liked the movie, and that's the movie that came out when I was born.
It's a good movie.
So, Dustin?
Yeah, so 1976, and it was Rocky, and I have seen it, and actually, the more I think about it, it's very fitting because it's, it's overcoming something and being strong, and, he write?
He wrote
He wrote it as well?
He sold his dog.
No, the story of Rocky. Read it. It's fantastic.
I've read parts of it.
He was offered money several times. They barely could eat. They couldn't. But he said, I wrote it. I'm going to direct it, and I'm going to be in it. Yeah. And nobody would take it.
In the midst of him being poor, he ended up selling his dog.
Really?
To help make that film.
Anything he could do, and then he did it. It's a great story.
Movie.
Throwing it right back to you, Dustin. What has been the worst movie to win Best Picture since you were born?
Okay, I'm going to be probably unpopular here, but I don't know if it's the worst movie, but I just really didn't care for it. Was Birdman. I really wanted Theory of Everything or Boyhood to win. So,
I can agree with. I see what you mean. Go ahead.
When I'm just comparing the list of movies that year in 2014, it took me by surprise. I mean, I understand it's a great movie, but it wasn't one of my favorites.
The only reason I wanted that movie to win was just because of the cinematography. That was it.
Okay.
There were many reasons I wanted that to win, but Boyhood was.
I loved Boyhood.
It was an accomplishment.
I think that's why many people wanted it to win. It was because it was a feat in filmmaking. It was a journey and a commitment, a big commitment.
It really was. Yeah. So I would probably agree with you with that. I mean, but I really love Birdman.
I love Birdman too.
I love Birdman.
I like Michael Keaton, but yeah.
So where do you stand, Valerie?
Of the worst?
The worst.
Oh, God. This is the only time when I remember. Well, there's another time, but I think that's going to be covered. That's going to be covered, and I feel like
there's been lots
anybody
of
that listens to this will be like, no shit. Okay. Mine is The Artist. Yes. I know that I come off as, when I say this, oh gosh, you're just really not artistic enough. You're not into real film. And I was a film student. I get it. I saw, I need the talkie. I don't know. The fact that won.
It's nostalgia.
I don't care.
I know. I agree.
I was so bored out of my mind, and I kept looking at my mom. I went with my mother, and I kept looking at her, and she thought I was looking at her just to see her reaction. I kept looking at her like, do you want to stay? And she kept looking at me, and at the end, I looked at her like, what in the hell? I was ready to go. And she said, I was totally ready to go. I was like, we wasted so much time. And then when it won, and then they won, he won.
Yeah, Gene, yeah.
Yeah, he won.
He's a good guy.
I grew up watching a lot of silent films, with my dad, how he liked to watch his old TCM and ACM. And I just had no desire to see it. Still have no desire to see it.
It's
boring.
It's just
nostalgia, and I understand why the Academy wanted to feel fuzzy inside and say, hey, this is our heyday, this is what we used to do.
But they overdid it.
What else was up that
He's
year?
French.
I don't even have anything on that year for like what my pick was.
Oh, I can tell you.
I think that was a forgettable year for me.
I think so too.
No.
That's why it won.
Okay.
It's 2011.
It's The Descendants, or
Love, Alexander.
Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, The Help, Hugo, Midnight in Paris, which is what I wanted to win, Moneyball, The Tree of Life, or War Horse. I wanted Midnight in Paris.
Hugo was a decent movie.
It was.
I liked Hugo.
I liked Hugo.
That's. I mean, I remember War Horse, Spielberg.
Great play,
I
but
didn't see either.
Yeah, Hugo is the one that stands out to me from that year.
I can't believe Moneyball was in there. Anyway,
so
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Good times.
Your turn.
So,
drum roll.
I think we can sum this up with Jack Nicholson's crash.
God.
He was surprised. We were all surprised. I was
It was a wow on the outside, and it was a what the on the inside.
What?
So why did it win?
It's a feel-good film, and it makes people
not.
feel. No.
Okay,
no.
sorry.
I read a thing the other day, and I think it hit it on the nail on the head. Was a lot of the people are constantly in this L.A. Hollywood bubble, and a lot of these people are on that. And it was a lot of people saw themselves in that film.
Yes.
And so it made it very easy and comfortable to vote for a film like that.
You know who should have won? Brokeback Mountain. And
Yes.
even the writer
Yes.
of Brokeback Mountain, Annie, was like, no. She like swore and got upset, wrote emails and hate letters and articles about it. Brokeback Mountain should have won. Like Heath should have won that year too. And they just said, never mind. But
another one for that year that stuck out for me was Good Night, Good Luck.
yes, good movie. Twerk was good in that. But yeah, Crash was just a feel good, not like literally feel good, but like we're comfortable. It's
God, I hated it.
Sandra Bullock was in it. I'm like, oh, you're just embodying the whole film. I'm so angry at the world, and I don't know why. And that's the whole film in a nutshell. And it just felt good. It made everyone feel like they weren't guilty anymore.
I don't understand this feel-good movie thing.
No. See, it's not literally feel good. It just makes people comfortable enough where they can not feel guilty anymore for a little bit. It's why Amistad didn't win the year it should have won, and they gave it something else instead. Amistad should have won Best Picture, but the Academy was uncomfortable with that subject matter being thrown in their face, so they voted for something else. Because Steven directed that film. I forget what came out.
Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah, won instead. So it was safe. Crash was safe.
Sorry, I keep making that noise.
Brokeback Mountain, the Academy has a lot of gay members, but they were not ready to. Moonlight came out.
It wasn't its time.
Moonlight came out, and it was in your face. We can talk about this, but back then they were still like, oh no, Kevin Spacey wasn't out, but we know he was gay, and yeah, it's just hiding.
Okay. And we can all agree on Crash then, yeah?
We're all in agreement.
We're all in agreement on Crash. I really didn't have one outside of Crash, and the only reason I picked Crash is because it's very forgettable to me. I can't even tell you what it was about. But something came up during the break that I'd like to talk about, and that is Forrest Gump.
Oh.
Valerie?
Oh, that's not where I thought you were going. I can't stand Forrest Gump. I know.
This is why we almost stopped being friends.
That's not.
This is good. Here we go.
It is.
All right.
No, I don't know. It's so annoying and it keeps going. It's just run, Forrest, run. I mean, hearing people still say that.
Yeah, they do.
All the time. I just can't.
It's a sign of a good movie. It's rememberable.
No, I don't.
I must say I've probably heard it more than you as a runner.
Oh, sure. Of course.
Every time you go around the corner, run, Forrest.
I hate it. It's just all the characters are just overdone. And
It's based on a book.
I don't care.
I think my friend Barry sums it up, and Barry, don't hate me. He says that the movie makes it okay to be dumb, but it's not Forrest's fault. But he just says it's just so naive, it drives him nuts. The whole film just is one random naivety after the other, and it's just, my friend Barry can't stand that. It makes him go batty.
Dustin, where do you fall on that? I want to know why this drove a wedge between you.
Well, I really loved Forrest Gump. I don't know if it had to do with a period of time in my life, maybe at that time. I mean, I remember at that time really loving Tom Hanks, and I really liked the historical aspect of the film, just all the time it went through.
And that was right at the epitome of the Tom Hanks trifecta.
Yes, absolutely.
Philadelphia.
Loved Philadelphia.
That's a great movie.
Philadelphia,
God,
Forrest Gump, and I'm missing something in there. There's 3 films, back-to-back years.
Yeah.
No, only 2.
No, there was 3.
No, there was 3.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting what the
Forrest
other one
Gump
was.
came out in 95, 94, so what would that be?
Yeah, Forrest Gump was 94.
Philadelphia was 93.
We'll come back to that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It didn't. It
Oh,
wasn't even nominated. It wasn't even nominated.
Yeah. What?
What we were just
Forrest
talking
Gump?
about. No.
Philadelphia?
Thank you.
That was the year before. He won for Best Actor.
He won for actor.
Oh, we're talking about actor.
Yeah.
God. Anyway, yes.
So aside from Valerie, are you two guys not fans of Forrest?
I like Forrest for what it is. I appreciate what it is, but it's not my favorite film. I can watch it.
So my picks go back all the way to 94.
Okay.
And the film that I actually picked that year over Forrest Gump was Shawshank Redemption.
Yes,
That's a good-
absolutely.
yes.
And I think it was a more deserving film than Forrest Gump.
Absolutely.
I don't knock Forrest Gump. I thought it was a unique film, but I'll walk Shawshank Redemption 10 times
Sure.
to
Me
1.
too.
Sure.
So there's our worsts. Let's go into our bests. Anthony, lead us off here.
How can I say this so I don't upset people? I liked Almost Famous, and that came out the same year as your favorite film.
Why would that upset people?
He's gung ho about Gladiator, and again, I know why
That doesn't
Gladiator.
matter.
I know why Gladiator won because it's nostalgia and
Oh.
it's a swords and sandals film, and they haven't had a good one in years. So this is a throwback saying, "Hey, we can do a modern, well, not modern, but we can do a film
I loved it.
in our past."
I think I posed this the wrong way. What was your favorite best picture?
Oh,
I said that the wrong way.
You may have to come back to
I had to
him.
come back to that one. There's so many. There's
So
so
Sorry
many.
about
you
that.
need to go look through the list. Okay, so mine is easy. Well, mine's
I
easy.
should have added that in. What was your favorite that didn't win?
Okay, so
But
mine is, if anybody knows me, knows The English Patient, and I know that people have very strong feelings.
Fargo.
That's an
That
excellent.
would have been my pick over that year.
Well, it didn't win. Sorry.
I know.
The English Patient, it came out during a year that was difficult for me, and so it resonated. I thought it was beautiful. I loved how it used art. It wasn't. It was adapted, but the book was totally different. I liked the movie better than the book, actually. I loved the story. I love passion. A lot of people had an issue with the fact that there was, an affair. Yes, there was an affair. The passion he had for her, the things that he was saying. I mean, I was just, I am a passionate person, so that worked for me. And I don't know. I just thought it was beautiful.
Didn't you feel it was kind of slow in parts?
Shut up. I did not. I never thought. People freak out about the fact that he went and got her and was carrying her out and she looked the same and she would have been bones and all this crap. It's a movie. So I was fine with it. I probably have never cried so hard in my life as I did. But I think that was also hitting upon the fact that I had just lost someone. So I watched that movie. That is my movie that I watch to feel
It's a good
connected.
choice.
All right, Dustin.
Yeah. I'm going with easy hands down Shakespeare in Love from 1998. It's just, that's shortly after I graduated high school, and I had spent like my senior year just reading tons of Shakespeare, and I love Romeo and Juliet, and combining that with this movie and how he came up with it,
It was very smart.
It's a very smart movie, and I love, Gwen and Rafe. I mean,
Yeah.
just
I loved that movie.
I have a
liked-
lot of adoration and fond memories of that movie. I don't know why I haven't watched it in a long time now.
Watch it. It's I
I
loved
distinctly
that movie.
remember the score for that. Just the long sweeping orchestra on it.
It's a great pick.
and Judi Dench got nominated for being
She
in
won.
it. She won?
Judi
That's
Dench
right.
won.
For like having 5 minutes on screen.
Yeah.
7.
7.
7 minutes.
Good pick. Good pick.
Thanks.
Spotlight.
Good pick.
Yes, good
That
one.
was a seamless docudrama in a way where I was like, wow, this is like almost a documentary, but it felt very dramatic and it moved and it didn't slow down at all. It just kept going and I was compelled to keep, and it was so recent.
Yeah, and so much better than The Post, like
Yeah.
when you're comparing.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
No, it was, and
It is.
it's just, I felt like Spotlight, at first I didn't want to watch it, but so I said, I'll read it first. And I read it and I said, wow, I have to watch this movie. And everything from the beginning to the end, it just kept
How
my
did it-
attention.
You read the screenplay.
I did,
Okay.
yes.
I agree. It was one of the last ones that year that I went out to see because I don't know why. I just was like, okay, fine.
Right.
But once I saw it, hands down, it was
And Michael
great.
was phenomenal. Mark Ruffalo, again, is my favorite. Those two, yes. So,
I loved Spotlight, and I think I saw it alone. And I just sat there. I know that you always sit through the credits.
Yes.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I have to leave. But I just remember sitting there do you know what I mean? You're just sitting there just soaking the whole thing in, watching the credits. I just sat in my seat until the whole thing was over. I loved that movie. And it was relevant.
Right.
And I was just like, thank God somebody put this out. Do you know what I mean? I was like, good job.
Well, the thing is that I read every year. You should know, listeners, that I read the Pulitzer Prize winning articles. I spend a good 3 weeks reading every article nominated and the winners of the Pulitzer Prize. So I read the Spotlight articles. They have them on the archive on the Pulitzer website. So I read it a long time ago, which wasn't so long ago. And then I said, you're making a movie out of this? How is that going to work? But then again, it's, people do it all the time. So I read the screenplay and said, wow. And I saw the movie and the whole cast, Michael Keaton, Mark Ruffalo, you have Leave, you have Billy Crudup in it. You have just so many people, and they disappear in their roles.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark made me almost cry. I mean, that shouting at the end.
I did cry.
Where he's like, this can happen anywhere. And then at the end of the film, you see Rochester, New York in the...
I know.
Yeah, you see your city.
Kansas City.
It was like,
when
wow.
you saw your city, that is when yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It hits you. It becomes personal. I mean, before you're just like, holy shit. And then when you see your city, that was brilliant. Okay.
My pick is you either love it or you don't. It hasn't aged perfectly, is Gladiator. And I think it envelops why my picks are the way they are, is because I view it on the technicality side. I think it is a phenomenal film in the way it was developed, in the process it went through, and specifically how music played a very important role in how it was created for the film. A lot of music is orchestrated after the fact, and it is orchestrated to the edits of the film. This, with Lisa Gerrard, who is the female voice, if you've ever heard the score, they actually set up a recording booth right next to the film editing booth, and for 6 months, the music was created at the same time as they were orchestrating the film edits, and so that is what shaped the film, was musical more than the film edits. And I just think it was to me it was a film that I go back to, as he does for Amadeus. I will watch at least once a year Gladiator, and I think
I have to give it a rewatch.
Me too.
It's a good film. I just didn't think that. I mean, Academy does that. They do a lot of nostalgia throwbacks, and it's great. But for me, Almost Famous that year, it hit me. I mean, I guess I was in high school, and I felt like William Miller was me. Again, I watch films, and sometimes I find myself in them. Like Amadeus, the creative personality. In Almost Famous, I saw the writer, the young kid who was trying to fit in. And I had friends in high school even who were much older than me. So I guess that resonated with me too, that trying to find your place in the world, trying to find out where you belong, and just finding your home, so to speak. So
it's personal.
Yeah.
But I see his point.
Yeah.
Gladiator is like this
big epic and
big, I don't know. I think
the hard part of that film, like watching it now, is that the CGI is aging.
Yes.
Like things like the tigers were pure CGI, and now they look like the funniest things. They look like animation from 1996. That's how bad they look. But get past that, and I think it doesn't have much of a important, impactful story other than a man going after revenge and going back to try to meet his family.
How old were you?
20. I saw it when it came out. What was it, 2000? 2000, and I didn't see it until mid 2001. Maybe it might have been even 2002 before I saw it.
Yeah.
But I had been listening to the music from the time they released the music, and so I kind of got into the film backwards. I watched it after listening to the film for a very long time.
I would say that.
Okay. So that wraps up that little round table. We're going to move into our little stew, even though we've been stewing pretty much the whole episode long. So this won't be that long, but what do the Oscars mean to you? What do they really represent?
This is an older fact, so I don't even know if it's relevant now. That after a man wins Best Picture or Best Actor, he gets a bump of about 80% for his salary. After a woman wins, there's really no effect on it. There's like no bump. That could be old, but that's what I was reading. There's also the curse of the Oscar, which I forgot to research that, how many people get divorced after they win an Oscar. Hilary Swank.
I was just thinking about her for something else. The fact that she just came into
Ben Affleck. There's more. We just haven't. Yeah. We didn't do our research. I apologize.
How much of that is tied to that, and how much of that is just tied to the industry in general, not being able to stay in relationships because of the situations you're put into with just being around the film industry in general?
I don't know, but it happens. It's just one of those things that are tied. It's like, oh, that's interesting. You just won this, and this happened.
So how does this tie into what it means to you? I'm trying to...
I was just asking what it means to people. Okay. What does it mean to me? The Oscar winning...
We're here. We're 90 years in on the Oscars. Why do we watch them every year?
I watch them because I always watched them when I was a kid, and I would dress up for them. And
the nostalgia.
Yeah, I know that they don't.
Are they impactful on your life of watching films?
No.
It's impactful because I go out and see movies that I normally wouldn't see sometimes. And that's impactful. So I feel like we get excited about, and it's good feelings. I mean, and it also means that Dustin's coming, Dustin and Ryan are coming. It's like, this is our weekend. This is our Oscar weekend. This is what we do. And I don't know, the whole thing. It's just a feeling. I know as a film student that I shouldn't care, and because the Academy at times makes huge mistakes, it's not like I think, oh my gosh, that is the best movie. You're right. It's not like that. It's just watching it. Oops. It's just the watching of it. I know that sounds ridiculous. It's just the feeling I get.
I get it. I mean,
do they mean anything? No.
Personally, for some reason, when I first started getting into them, they seem to have meant something to me then, which they don't mean now. Mm-hmm. Like I've made picks the last couple of years, but I haven't found myself religiously watching it. Like I can't tell you the last year that I actually stayed up. I mean, I don't even think the best actress. No, it would be the best actor, director, picture. I can't tell you the last time I actually watched those live, because they just. I go to bed at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. If it really meant something to me, I think I would be staying up and actually watching it.
We do.
I do too. I think that for me, for as long as I remember, and I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. So as a part of that, I've always watched the Oscars for the sake of, this is the climate of the industry. This is what they like. This is what they're buying, story-wise. But as I've grown older, in my 20s, I would say, it's gotten to the point now where this is the thermometer for our society. This is what is important to us. This is what these people, and there are a lot of them, think is relevant to and it kind of represents America in a way. So when Colin Firth, who we knew from the get-go was going to win for The King's Speech, it's a way of saying we care about redeeming ourselves or becoming better or improving ourselves, when he was playing the king who had a stammer and overcame it. So I realized at that point, America's about overcoming something in our artist bank of Academy voters. They want to overcome something is bothering them. And I know the Post won't win Best Picture, but that was Spielberg's way of saying, hey, we don't like Trump, let's bash him through a film. Let's talk about our freedom, our rights. That you keep bashing our livelihood, the journalism. Let's fight back and say, this is what the power of journalism.
It would have been better if
Yeah.
you would have done it better.
Spotlight, I think, did that for, the pre-scandal, but I think Spotlight was more than the pre-scandal on a different level. It was saying, yes, this was a problem in the Catholic Church, but the newspaper is still relevant. It may be digital, but we're still trying to get the truth out and inform you. And it's kind of interesting that came out before Trump was elected president, because he's been bashing the media left and right, but I always go back to Spotlight saying, this is the power of journalism. So in a way, the Academy watching this is showing me what the industry is buying story-wise and what they want to make and what they are subtextually saying. This is the message we want to let people know about, and this is what we are hoping to address socially. And that's what films have always been for me. They've been a message saying, I wanted to teach you something. So I guess that's where I'm at.
I also feel like when we watch them and we see what wins over another movie, it does make you think, oh, okay, well, you're not ready. America's not ready.
Right.
America's not ready for
Brokeback Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain, so we can't do it. But we'll nominate it.
And
But-
Heath and Jake were risking their careers. Because, we had Rupert Everett, who came out of the closet so early in his career, and he's been, derailed ever since.
Yep.
And now he's doing a Oscar Wilde film as his last hurrah film.
It's too bad.
But he came out, and they weren't ready for it.
Right.
And that was sad.
I mean, I could go on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dustin looks like he has something to say.
No, I don't think I have really anything new to introduce from what you guys were saying. I think, over time, it's just changed for me. As a kid, it was about this fantasy world of Hollywood and living in it, and being like, wow, I would love to be part of that. And, and then also as a teenager, escaping to movies and just knowing that for an hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, I could just get away from everything and live in that movie and in that moment. And so it's just kind of always, been a fascination of mine. And then just kind of as I've gotten older, it's kind of been more of a traditions thing, and coming to see Valerie every year and knowing that we always watch them together and just seeing familiar faces now on screen and things like that.
You, Ron,
I thought I already shared my spot. Did I?
did you?
Mm-hmm. He did.
He did.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Not that it didn't mean anything.
Yeah, Dustin just touched upon, being able to go to the movies and escape. And I think I approached the Oscars a little bit differently in the way that the more we talk about this, the more we go through this and realizing how much of the technicality side is tied to my feelings in movies in general, is that ability to go to the movies and escape. I am a person who loved being able to see Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade and just disappear into this fantasy world as God, what was I, 9 years old when that came out? But it happened on more than one occasion. The movie that solidified me wanting to be in the film industry was Jurassic Park. That moment when you got to see a dinosaur on there. And those aren't the movies that get that Oscar attention.
That makes sense.
But you're right.
But those are the movies that have the impact on me. I don't necessarily need a movie that sends... I love Spotlight. I don't want to knock it. I've never needed to feel connected in such a way that is the most important thing to me, where it needs to send a message. But however, I remember watching Shakespeare in Love and feeling connected to that movie because of how much I had this desire to be in the film industry, and I wanted to be a director. I wanted to start getting into writing, and I felt like, oh, it's that tale of Shakespeare and wanting to do that. And it was the same time I was going through a relationship of my own that had just started, then broken up, and then was in the mix of getting repaired and being brought back. And I think if a movie can touch you in that way, it's more important than any award that can get thrown at it.
Correct.
Yeah.
It could be completely torn apart by your friends. It could be torn apart by the Academy or the popular consensus. But if it's something that inspires you and moves you forward, I think to me that has more weight than any award that'll ever be thrown at it.
So
well said.
With everything you just said,
Which
I agree with. Then if I went by that, then Call Me by Your Name would win Best Picture, because seeing that movie brought back feelings that I forgot I had. Those first feelings of being in love and being confused and pretty powerful. So I don't know. I totally agree. I've escaped in movies to the point where I have a hard time with movies in reality. But I'm glad they're here. And I think the Oscars are fun because it's really the only time that I get to talk about movies with people that don't normally talk about movies.
Except for now.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, there's not a whole lot of... It's something that people talk about. And they talk about movies. And then, okay, we're going to talk about movies right now. That's fun. So it brings movies into the spotlight.
Ooh, I saw what you did there.
Spotlight is actually one of the only films where I've actually able to step back and actually be in the movie. Like, it's really hard for me, even from a young age, even knowing how movies were made at a young age. Seeing HBO First Look and all that stuff on TV, I was actually able to disappear. Almost Famous, same thing. It's very hard for me to step back and just watch a movie because I'm watching and seeing all the elements come together. And
that's why I'm Penny Lane, by the way. Penny Lane 64.
Speaking of Penny Lane, do you know what I watched Across the Universe again?
I know, I saw that.
Love that movie.
It's a good movie.
And it just came out in 4K with like, so I want to go grab it.
Of course. I've been showing my oldest, Zoe. Oh, except that Harper loves I Want to Hold Your Hand. She loves that entire scene. I have to play it over and over and over again. But the girls love it. I just haven't shown them the entire movie.
You should.
I haven't seen it for a while. Do you think she's ready?
No. How old is she?
No, I wouldn't yet.
Yeah, there's parts that they're not ready for.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway.
So that's what the Oscars mean to us. Anthony, was there anything this year that was left off that you think should have been in there?
I'm going to go on the Wonder Woman train. I'm not sure what category, but I think it's simple.
I'm in agreement.
She needed a nod somewhere.
Yeah. That was a triumph of filmmaking. And
where do you think it would fit? I mean,
I said Best Picture, but
I would say directing. Even the directing would be nice just to put her in there. I think we could take off
Van Thread.
Yeah, I think Paul's had other films that have been. Yeah, I would replace Paul with her. And
you don't have to. They didn't fill up to 10. You can just add it. You don't even have to subtract.
Just write it in.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good film for what it was. And I'm not saying because she's a woman she should be nominated. I just think that for it being a superhero film, it worked for me.
It was really good.
I think what worked for me, besides it being a female director, was Gal Gadot.
Yes.
I think, I mean, how much had she done prior to this?
Not much.
I mean, I don't remember seeing her until Batman vs. Superman. Right. But even in that tiny little bit of Batman vs. Superman, she was the thing that stood out.
Yeah,
yes.
She made her entrance.
To where she was in Wonder Woman, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
And she grabbed your attention, and she, to stand next to Chris Pine and
I didn't mind
Chris
him being
Pine
in the movie.
Looking like
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, she made Chris Pine seem like a small guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful for an actress to do. It doesn't happen often,
right?
The part of the movie where.
So if we were to move, I would say get rid of Margot Robbie and put Gal Gadot on there.
Yes,
I agree.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Valkyrie. No. Valkyrie. Tessa Thompson.
Well, we were discussing, so we kind of have, Dustin and I kind of have mutual. We both, give me their names, though.
Michael Schollabarg.
What was his name?
What are we talking about?
Schlotby. He was in Call Me By Your Name.
Call Me By Your Name,
okay.
supporting actor.
Dad. We were him as supporting actor.
He was also in The Post and Shape of Water.
Yeah, so he was in 3 movies this year. I just thought he should have been nominated.
Wait. Go back. What's his name?
Which one was he?
Michael Schollabarg.
Oh, he's in everything. I see him in a lot. He was the doctor in Shape of Water.
Yes.
Yes. He's in a lot of things. I see his face a lot.
And he was the dad in Call Me By Your Name.
Who gave the speech of
okay, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He gave this great monologue.
He's the one that looks like an older Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
He does.
Yeah. But
see, it clicked, didn't it? Okay.
But he gave this great monologue, and kind of the whole thing behind it was just It was like the envy of every gay kid who longed to hear their parents say it gets better, and that was the best way to sum up the monologue. And I mean, he was good throughout the whole film, but that was the
I have goosebumps. It's
part.
It was so well scripted, that speech that he gives to his son about feeling it. Don't close down. Don't shut it away. Feel all these feelings that you're feeling. It was great.
And I think in the sporting category too, I think there was a miss with Armie Hammer. I do think
That was shocking.
I think he should have gotten something.
Yeah.
That was a surprise for me.
I liked Let's. What's his name? What's his name? The dad in Lady Bird.
Oh, you're talking about that's
Let's.
Tracy Letts,
Yeah.
the playwright. Yes.
I thought he was. I really enjoyed him. I thought he would have been nice in there somewhere.
He'll get there soon. He's doing more and more movie roles, and he was in The Post, I believe, too. But he's doing more. He's stepping away from Steppenwolf and doing more Hollywood things.
I'm so pissed that The Post is even on here.
Is Spielberg butt kissing?
I think Mudbound should have been in there.
Well, Mudbound was on. That's Netflix, correct?
And that's going back to what you talked about earlier.
3 nominations on here.
So you can't you can't do that.
You need Best Picture has to screen in LA for 7 days, and
they're not ready for
they're
a
uncomfortable.
Netflix film to win.
Yeah.
Within the
Netflix won't put them on.
I think we're
so-
on.
Netflix won't do it.
We're about 3 or 4 years in, and I think when we hit next year or the year after, you're going to see a major change in the stuff coming from Netflix and Amazon being finally nominated in the Best Picture.
Well,
just because it's an acceptance thing, and people take a long time to accept change, and it goes back to what you said about Brokeback Mountain. It took a long time before people finally made that change.
Well, Amazon put theirs on a screen, and Netflix is not going to do that.
I just think
Amazon has a habit of actually buying the films.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily them producing the films from the ground up. They're buying them from Sundance or something like that. So they've already been shown up on screen.
That's why The Big Sick is not on Best Picture, because they didn't. It was streaming before it was in a theater. So there's rules, and rules are rules. So
people did say that Holly Hunter should have been nominated.
she should have actually been, yeah.
So and we talked about earlier, my thing would be Logan not being on the Best Picture list.
I don't understand why the Academy doesn't take it seriously. I don't know if it's just no one takes superhero films
It's the
seriously.
superhero film.
But it's not. They're getting better. So
You want to speak on this?
But this goes into,
we'll talk about that.
Dark Knight was not on the Best Picture list.
I loved.
I think someday we'll break through. We'll talk about that.
They're not ready yet,
but they will be ready soon.
Yeah, they're just
before it dies out.
I'd like to say you have to have the right movie, but I don't. I'm now at the point I don't know what the right movie would be to break through.
Right.
Because the people that have touched the films over the last couple of years have been the right people at the right time.
Yeah. Going back to Wonder Woman, it was also a historical setting too. I mean, I just don't think they're ready.
Ready for what?
Okay, let me put it this way. Brokeback Mountain was gay themes and story, and people were not comfortable because it's in your face, and they just didn't want to see two men kissing on screen. I guess that was what I heard on the back waves. People were telling me back channel.
What I'm saying is why...
And they're not ready for superheroes to win movies. Yeah. To win
awards.
Academy Awards.
Because they're a kiddie, they're fantasy, they're supposed to be make-believe, and they're for kids. They have that mentality that graphic novels are for teenagers when they're not. Graphic novels are for high school kids and college students. There are classes for graphic novels.
I think it also ties into the pushback of something that is commercially, financially successful in a blockbuster type setting.
Yes.
You cannot look at this list and point out and say that was a blockbuster. That was a blockbuster. The closest thing would be Gladiator. Gladiator was a blockbuster success that
Forrest Gump was too.
And this year, Get Out was the biggest one.
Few and far between. And when you look at the movies that are superhero movies, they are very popular commercially. And what I've seen is that's what they shy away from. It's like, we don't want to put our emphasis on these things that are commercially viable. We'd like to put them on these little guys that are independent and trying to make things work.
Maybe they don't think the acting is up there?
I disagree.
It's the reverse of the Tony Awards, where they give the play musical with the most commercial success. And sometimes they're wrong. Like Wicked didn't win, but its longevity. Like Rent won, but it's just popularity contest.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that at a different podcast.
Yeah. All right, so we got that. And last thing, we're going to talk about the Oscars before we wrap up the show. Go through your favorite 3 films of the year. Dustin, they don't have to be even on the Best Picture lists.
Sure. Yeah. Call Me by Your Name. Definitely. I'm going to say Wonder Woman because I really, really did like that movie. And I really enjoyed Get Out.
Okay.
Those were my 3 picks.
Blade Runner, just because. Okay, I'm the ones that brought me joy. These are the types of movies, not ones we think we should be on the Oscars.
It could be either.
No, I'm going to
Anything
go
this
with
year.
things that brought me joy.
Whatever 3 ones you want to talk about.
Joy. Okay, so Blade Runner.
Was that a Ryan Gosling giggle?
It was.
No.
Okay.
Oh, my Lord. But yes. Okay. I do have a thing. Anyway, I Call Me by Your Name just because of everything it evoked. And my last one is more of just a feeling. It's a memory. It's The Greatest Showman. I had a great time. My daughters love it. It's just a good, fun movie where you didn't have to worry about anything. It's catchy music. We had a great time. So
I'm going to go with The Shape of Water, Dunkirk, and The Disaster Artist.
Okay.
he's not going to be there. Did you know that?
I know.
And what's his name?
Oh, speaking of Disaster Artist, did you see the short film that they're coming out with?
No.
Yeah. It's called Friends with the R in parentheses, so like Fiends Friends. It's
Yes,
the 2
I
guys.
read about
Okay.
that.
Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy and Mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't notice
I'm
it.
sorry, it just popped up like Thursday. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I got to tell you about
I
that.
would
But
say Disaster Artist it's worn on me a little bit. I mean, I like the fact that they're making a movie about making a movie, which is always a bonus, but I think that just the friendship in that movie is what weighs more than anything else. Seeing their friendship on display, seeing sacrifices made by Tommy for his friend, and how much he cared about him. Even though the film is a disaster, he still is like, I'm making this film for you. It's not for me. This is for you to have a vehicle. And so everything else besides Jim Franco, just the heart of it was friendship.
James Franco was not attending, and Casey Affleck, who won last year, will not be
They
presenting.
were told not to be there.
Not be presenting the best actress.
Yeah, they were told not to
Yeah.
attend.
My picks would be Dunkirk, of course, and Logan. And I think as for pure all-out joy of the year movie that was just fun to watch was Thor Ragnarok.
That was a good movie. It was fun.
That was good.
Jeff was hilarious.
Valerie's just sitting here blank-eyed.
I won't be
Blanking at me.
blank-eyed all the time. I'm going to get there.
Yes, it's a superhero tilt to my films because even Nolan was the director of Dark Knight, so that's 3 for 3 there. But I thought Thor was just fun. I mean, in the same way that Greatest Showman was just fun, it was just one of those times that were like it took a superhero movie and just enjoyed it from beginning to end, and didn't have to be the best thing out there, but it was pretty damn good.
I saw some good movies recently. Some good short films.
Short films,
Yeah,
yeah.
I did. So last night we went out, Dustin and I.
Oh,
We went out and ended up at Fleet Feet, and there was the Best Coast, or the, sorry, Best, it is, Beast Coast Trail Film Series was showing. And my husband, I was actually in them too, but my husband is one of the stars, of one of the films that have to do with trail racing. And there were 6 individual films that were viewed, and they were just to see somebody who had a vision and went out, and some of those shots were amazing. I just feel like it was so inspiring to me, honestly, to see somebody who wanted to do something and they did it, and here it is. People they care about, people that are in there just to see his work finally on a screen was fantastic. So good job, Ron.
Thanks. Not going to talk about it, but thank you.
You're welcome. It was really great.
So that's our Oscar talk. Hope you found something fun and interesting, and I hope you agreed or disagreed, and don't hesitate to talk to us on Facebook about it. Closing out our show, we're going to go quickly through our radar and our queue, things we're looking forward to, things we've seen. And as you might have noticed, if you're in our podcast feed, a couple things have also started coming out. We have Moments of Influence, which has just started, which are a short little one-on-one discussion with us and somebody who's discussing a media influence piece. And one of the upcoming episodes is actually going to be Valerie and Dustin as to one of their pieces. And I've also started to put on there things that we just really don't have the time to talk about sometimes when we're here in our episodes, because we'd like to keep these bite-sized in an hour. This will be our exceptionally long episode, but deal with it. Are going to be our 5-minute reviews. So occasionally the three of us will go through and just do a quick little recap review of what we thought about a film that came out. The first one I have out there was Annihilation. And my thoughts on that, so you can kind of go back and listen to that. But let's roll into Tony. What's some of the things that are on your...
Okay, so I'm going to watch Downsizing. I read the screenplay for it, wasn't really impressed. And I love Alexander Payne a lot, but this may seem like a miss. So I'm going to watch the film before I have my opinion. I saw Phantom Thread the other day. That's a no-go for me. That's not a watch. I mean, I love Paul Thomas Anderson, and I love Daniel Day-Lewis, but I just felt too much. I'm going to also look to see The Death of Stalin and The Breadwinner and Marty's Silence.
Okay, I'm up next. I'm going to, there's a French film, BPM, correct? That's
yes,
correct.
That is good film.
So BPM, I'm really looking forward to seeing. I think you would really enjoy that too. I saw a ghost story. I think it's called A Ghost Story.
It
or
is.
The Ghost. I saw a ghost story. I'm going to tell you it's not for everyone. But
Where is
man, where is it? Gosh, it was on Prime or Netflix.
Okay.
I don't think I paid for it. I think it's Prime. And it sticks with you. If you can stick with the film, it will stick with you. But you have to stay and watch it. There's a reason I'm saying that. Phantom Thread, I just want to see it. Breadwinner, I just have heard fantastic things about. And I'm going to do my best to see Raw.
What's Raw?
Raw is...
Wrestling?
Kind of like...
I was going to wonder, is it
Raw
wrestling?
is kind of, what I hear, it's a little bit of coming of age, cannibalism.
Okay.
Oh my!
But it's getting it's getting great reviews. People,
Cannibalism is not the word I thought you were going to say after coming of age.
I know, but I'm going to watch it. I'll let you know what I think.
Okay.
Dustin, is there anything you've watched recently? Or
Well, I am inspired now to rewatch Gladiator. So, in all seriousness, because I think I need to see it again. And then I do want to see The Breadwinner. Anything that I've watched recently, on the plane right here, I was watching Fantastic Beasts. I really enjoy that movie. So,
my girls love that movie. I not so much. I don't know why. But I think it goes into my I never really dug the Harry Potter movies. There was nothing in them that stuck out to me.
And I love Harry Potter, so it was perfect.
I just want to mention that right now, out of the vault, is Lady and the Tramp. You can go buy it. I love that movie.
I have it on VHS. So.
I love that movie. Anyway, so I'm so excited. Anyway, go get Lady and the Tramp.
A couple things that are on my watch this week. As I mentioned, Annihilation. You can go listen to my 5-minute review. Just went out and saw Red Sparrow. I'll throw up another 5-minute review for that. Just watched Lady Bird with my wife the other night. Did not dig it.
What did she think?
I don't think she had any feelings for it.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, she was about halfway through. She pulled out her phone and just started paying attention to her phone. So
Okay.
it wasn't very engaging for her. But for me, and what's interesting is like the whole soundtrack thing never really stuck out to me. It never stuck out in my brain that it was like forced in there. To me, it just seemed like okay. Somebody telling the story of basically their teenagehood to collegehood, and I didn't really get anything out of it. But anyways, so for me, it is save it for a rainy day if you really need something to do. Otherwise, skip it. But that is if you side with my kind of feeling on films. That is not a general consensus in this room. Another thing that I've been watching that I just kind of stumbled across is Frankenstein Chronicles on Netflix.
I saw that.
Sean Bean, I think he's a great actor. I think he plays a terrific person.
He doesn't die?
Well, he does at the end of season 1.
Okay.
But guess what? He comes back as Frankenstein. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
So I went through season 1.
Is it gruesome?
Oh yeah, there's some blood, guts, and gore, and wide open, ripped open people.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's in a historical context. Things I enjoy like that, and I thought season 1 was really good, and it was something that like. If you want something to put on your queue and you have nothing else, go ahead, put it on it. I'm just starting to work my way through season 2. So I just tapped into the first or second episode on that. But again, I think Sean Bean is great.
He's a good actor. I just wonder because every time he's in a film, he dies. Like even in Game of Thrones, he dies. And every time he's in a movie, he dies.
I think that was the greatest thing about Games of Thrones is that you put this guy who's like a top actor and you kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that set the stage for everything else that came after with Game of Thrones.
Definitely did.
Couple things that are in my queue. Mute just came out on Netflix. Interested in seeing that one. It's got Paul Rudd and somebody else in it that I can't recall off the top of my head, but it looked interesting. I liked the trailer for it, and I figured it would.
I wanted to see that one too.
Death Wish was on my calendar, but with the things coming out, I'm probably going to skip it. I don't know. This whole Die Hard thing with Bruce Willis just still kind of. Like every time Bruce Willis is in something, I just gravitate towards seeing it, but I don't think I'm going to waste the time in the theater to go see it. Gringo, the more I see of this film, the more interesting it looks to me. It looks like a high-paced, dark, black comedy. A Wrinkle in Time is going to come out before our next meeting, so I'm probably going to be able to see that this Thursday.
Cool.
And that's Ava DuVernay, the same one who...
Yes. I know who you're talking about, yeah. She's done a lot of...
she just did something. It's on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's about the prison system. So,
Is that it?
one last thing.
I forgot to mention one of mine.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I've been watching Man in the High Castle and really enjoying it so far. Just thought I'd share that.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
Give me a guilty pleasure. What's one of your stuff that's in your
A movie?
queue? Or, no, something that's in your queue or in a DVR that you'd be embarrassed to tell anybody else.
Oh.
Do you know what? I'm just going to say
I swear to God, if it...
Gossip Girl is in my Netflix queue.
I love Gossip Girl. Why is that
It's
bad?
a guilty pleasure. That's
love
what he's
it.
asking for.
That's... Okay.
For me, it's been The Curse of Oak Island. I don't know. There's just something about historical people going and trying to dig up historical treasure. And it's been fascinating to watch these two guys be so obsessed. And I think they're into their 5th or 6th season of the show. And it's something that, like, my girls will rarely, like, sit down and actually watch something with me. Every time it comes on, they sit down and watch, and they just, it's the whole lure of, are they going to find something today? And, they're not going to find anything. But it's just, like, you keep watching because it's like watching, I don't know.
So you like it. It's just guilty pleasure.
It's
kind of
definitely
thing.
a guilty pleasure. It's one of those things that I'll watch on. It's on the DVR, so I'll watch it on a Sunday afternoon when I just want to chill out and scroll through stuff or edit or write or do something. It's background noise. But
I've been watching My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It's something that I'm into it, but it's jarring. Like, I know it's a musical TV show. I understand that. But it's just sometimes I'm watching it, I'm like, wow, this is really weird. Why am I watching this?
I saw a couple too.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
But then again, you have, what's his name? Santino Rotino is in it. Is that his name? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
He was in Smitches Only, which I'll be talking about that next time. But yeah, he was in Frozen. He played the prince in Frozen. Santino guy. Yeah, he's a good actor, good voice. But I watched that, and I don't know why I'm watching it, but I find myself compelled to keep watching it.
Okay, I found one.
She had to dig hard.
I am digging hard because there's a lot in here. I don't even know anything about this movie at all, but it looked kind of interesting. Just the picture looked interesting.
What is it?
It's The Wonder? Is that
The Wonder. Is that the Wilson Roberts film?
I don't know. It's just called The Wonder. This looks like it's Ben Affleck. The Wonder.
To the Wonder.
To the Wonder.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, there's another film that just came out last year that's called Wonder.
Well, I know that one. So To the Wonder is in my queue. It looks like it's probably going to be a guilty pleasure. There you go. Got one. I got one.
Yay.
Well, that pretty much wraps up our show today. Dustin, if anybody wants to find you, stalk you, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. Dustin Haupt, Haupt.
But Dustin is spelled wrong.
Oh, yeah, Dustyn. It's a long story.
No. If you've ever dated him, don't go find him. That's why we changed it. And I'm at Penny Lane 64 on Instagram. Yeah.
And
On
I'm on Twitter at SMTORCHIO.
And as always, you can find me as GF Media or at GF Media CEO pretty much everywhere. You can find us at culturalstew.net, at culturalstewnet on Twitter, or Cultural Stew on Facebook. Thanks.
This
Catch you
was
at the
fun.
next one.
This was fun.
The intro and break music is Please Listen Carefully by Jahzzar, available through the Creative Commons license from Free Music Archive. The outgoing music is provided by Epidemic Sound. Please see our show notes for details on what the outgoing song is and who it is by. And also, as always, if you have a piece of music that you'd like us to play or consider playing, please contact us today. Like what you've heard? Want to continue to hear more? Please consider Patreon. What is Patreon, you ask? Patreon is a content creator support site, a way for people to support the things they love and allow creators to continue creating the content that they love. Please consider heading over to patreon.com/GFmedia and becoming a Patreon supporter today.